Welcome to Conversations with Masesi, where my guest and I talk about life, family, love, community, and everything in between. Home is where our story begins. Joining me today, I have Anita and Mary that will talk to us about how to keep those family stories alive. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So for our viewers today, just half a second, tell us who you are and, where you're from, a little bit about who you are, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
We'll start with Mary.
You want my name?
Yes.
My name is Mary Semchyshen, and I'm from Saskatoon now.
Yeah?
But I was raised on a farm by Carriage River in Nippon Way.
Yes.
And
who's Anita to you?
Anita is my daughter.
The oldest one? The youngest one?
Second.
The second one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mary, for coming this morning. And over to you.
I'm Anita Fenstad. My maiden name is Semchyshen, so just like my mom. And I'm from Saskatoon, born and raised, though I did live in Yorkton for 1 year, but here, born and raised, and still living here in Saskatoon.
I'm so happy to have you both on Conversations today because we're going to talk about keeping the family stories alive. So what are your favorite family stories, Anita? Tell me, when you were young, which one was your favorite?
One.
And who told that story?
There's just so many good stories of growing up and the resourcefulness of our families. I mean, I have fond memories of going to where my mom grew up out by Carriage River, the Nippon area there, and where my grandparents had their farm, which they were called Baba and Guido.
Yeah.
And there's just so many stories of our family gatherings there because my mom had a 15 brothers and sisters.
Is that right?
A very, very big family. So family gatherings were never small. So when I think about stories, I think about Christmas time and everybody gathering together and getting ready for the big suppers and making sure that every child didn't go without something.
We're going to shelve the Christmas for now, but I want to go to you, Mary. When you were growing up, from that kind of a big family, how was story time? Was it around fire? Was it when you were going somewhere with mom and dad? Like, how were stories passed down to you?
Stories, you're
Yes,
saying?
family stories.
I don't know what to say. What we did, you mean?
What you did,
Yeah.
how you did it.
Well, we used to get together in the summertime, go pick berries.
Oh,
Yeah. And we had lunch, so we had sort of a picnic after we finished picking berries or in between. And we played ball and, helped mom with kitchen stuff. And I did inside work, not outside work. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
not everybody likes the outside.
yeah.
But
there was enough boys to do the outside work.
That's
so,
good.
Yeah.
But between your mom and dad, who liked telling family stories?
My mom.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So were you the one in your family now telling Anita stories and her siblings? Because once you hear from mom, you want to pass it down to somebody else.
Yeah. And I usually tell the kids stories to my son and Anita also, different things that we did on the farm.
Yeah.
But
I'm the one to ask all the questions.
yeah, so I have to tell them quite a bit of
Because
stuff.
that brings me to why you like story time. I know story time for you, you just light up. So now I get it where that comes from. So in front of us here, we have all these wonderful props. And it's story from something. What does it say?
Something from
something
nothing.
from nothing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that because it has a significance in your life.
It really, really does. I work at Foundations Learning and Skills, Saskatchewan, and we actually do story time with this very story book by Phoebe Gilman, Something from Nothing. And the reason why it's so special to me is because my mom and I created this like almost, 15 years ago. And 'cause she can do everything.
Right.
We just happened to find the material that looks just like in the storybook. And she sewed everything. She made Grandpa's overalls and Grandpa's vest and the little boy's clothes. And in this story, Grandpa makes a blanket and it gets tattered. And then through it all, Grandpa has to keep fixing and repairing. And that's my mom. And my kids knew growing up, when something was broken, Grandma Mary can fix it. They would always say that, Grandma Mary can fix it. So it just became really, really, really a special story for me. And I'm really glad it's still living on and I can still share it when I'm reading stories to other children that aren't even my own family.
No, and that's the most important thing about family stories or things that the family created. You pass it on. And like you say, you did this 15 years ago. I remember when my kids were 2 and 3.
Yeah.
This was when you made the outfit for Grandpa.
Yes.
And we are so grateful for that. And how resourceful you were. One thing I like is, I'm going to talk about your dad a little bit, is the stories that we hear about your dad.
Yes. Yeah.
And the contribution that he's made and how we are benefiting from those stories. Just tell us a little bit about, there's a shoe that we got from your dad that is so important to us, especially for us and the children at Foundations as well.
Yes, yeah. So from this, when we started doing story sacks a long time ago, there was also one, Where's My Moccasin? And my dad's now been passed away now it's going to be 22 years this fall. And he happened to have these moccasins that people always gave stuff to my dad. They loved my dad. Dad could just talk to everybody and make friends with everybody. And he was working up north by Black Lake area. And he was gifted these beautiful moccasins and beautiful gloves and actually a very, very nice drum as well. And I donated them to, at that time, Reed Saskatoon, which is Foundations Learning and Skills now. And because I thought, okay, they could stay at home and not be used and treasured and looked at, or else I could actually contribute to the community and bring them out and be able to share the story. So whenever we do events and we bring out that bag with those moccasins, I always have to share this. And this is a funny story.
Yeah.
Because one winter, the moccasins, before I had donated them, and when my dad was still around, the moccasins went missing. And we could not figure it. Did somebody steal them? Did we lose them? Where are these moccasins? And we just couldn't figure out where they were. And when we got them, they were tanned and they had a real smoky kind of smell to them. So we put them outside to air them.
Okay.
Anyways, kind of forgot about them. Come spring, garden is getting prepared. And there were the moccasins. Our German Shepherd, Roscoe at the time, must have taken them and buried them in the snow.
And did not even chew them.
Was in the dirt.
In the dirt, yeah. So before it froze up, but we had no idea that that's where they were, and then they turned up that following, and we laughed about it. And you can tell you, they were just made so well, you wouldn't even known they were buried all winter in that snow.
Wow! Yeah, I washed them all off, and they dried, and they were just fine. Eh?
Yeah. So and I don't even know who actually gifted them to them. I don't even know if we have a name.
No, I wanted some moccasins, but when he brought them home, I didn't care for them because they smelled too much.
They were very strong and smoky
smoky smell because they tanned their hide. Eh? So, but they were nice, but I just didn't want to wear them. Yeah.
So that's the story of the moccasins. And now we bring them out with our little story circle, and then I always have to share the funny story about that dog, how he had to bury them.
And we love that funny story. How does that make you feel, Mary? You know, as a mother, you see all this being passed down to everybody else, and even people that you've never met benefiting from it.
Yeah, it's a good, nice feeling. Yeah.
We all are sharing in your family story. You know that. Yeah. We feel like we're part of your family because we get to know everything that you've done. We sit on quilt you have sewn, and now with the moccasin as well. It's a good family story. But Anita, how are you passing that down to your children?
Well, my kids went to the groups as well. So, I mean, they've heard the stories when they were young, just like what your children were when they came. And, and now, I see my daughter starting to crochet like my mom does, and she's interested in sewing. I didn't.
You used to sew some stuff.
Yeah, well.
By hand.
Yeah, just by hand.
For Barbies.
But so I see Sydney doing that now, and I can kind of see her doing that. And then I see the creativity that my son has as well. I mean, all that creativity is passed down from generations, because my Baba would do her needle points, and my Guido was always tinkering and building stuff. I actually have this metal tin man in my garage that I'll cherish forever, that he made from old coffee cans, and that's how our family was. We did something from nothing. We made stuff from nothing because we just don't.
We just kept things so we could make something.
Yeah, we could always look
Grandma Mary can fix it,
yeah,
right?
what can we make out of this? We're not going to get rid of this. That's just kind of us.
Yeah, and keep all materials because you may want to make something.
You never know what you might want to do with
And
it.
that way it will have a story that you pass on to your
Yeah.
children, your grandchildren,
Yeah.
and it goes on, and to the community around.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody knows. Ask Anita first before you buy, because she may have it or her mom may still have it.
Right.
These little treasures. I used to call her basement the treasure trunk,
Yeah.
because I could always find all this stuff to do programming, and it was just fun, just creating things together.
I wish I can just sit here and listen to you guys talk all the time and tell us all the stories and all the things you've created. But, I'm grateful that you could make time to come, and we'll continue this conversation in a bit. But for now, without memories, traditions slowly die. Customs slip into a thing of the past, but it doesn't have to be that way. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media platforms to keep the conversation going. Thank you for joining us on Conversations. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you and yours. Shalom.